How's it going, everyone? This is Kevin. Today I want to bring you along with me because I want to talk about the top 3 lenses that you need to have. So let's jump right into it. First and foremost, I'm going to be talking about the lenses that I use for my Sony camera, but if you can find the perspective focal length that correlates to the camera that you use, well, that's all that matters. So the lenses that I want to cover are the 20mm focal length, 35 and 85. First up is my Tamron 20mm 2.8. I got this lens for like about $300 when I got it new. So this is a very inexpensive wide lens that honestly covers everything for focal length for vlogging, also for kind of like wide real estate photography and just architecture kind of style wide photos. There is a lot of alternatives with like 16 to 35 and whatnot, but the price point for those compared to this is a massive amount. Most of them you can get them for like $1,000 if you're not getting the Sony. So with that said, this is $300. It gives you a lot more budget to kind of go and get more lenses. So that's one of the good things that I like about all the lenses that I've gotten. They're very budget friendly and they're also very good quality. So with this lens, I've used it a lot for my vlogging. Right now I'm using my 35 to shoot this because I only have these 3 lenses because I only wanted to get these 3 lenses for now. Eventually I might get something else, but these are my holy trinity, for lack of a better way of putting it, that I've been using for a while now. This lens alone, even with the update that they just did, it's actually gotten quieter because I know people are complaining about the little kind of like click that it would do for focusing and hunting, but it's $300, so you're getting a lot for what it is. This lens itself is very wide. What I like about it as well is that it is very, very light. I used to shoot my vlogs with my 35 Sigma, which is a little bit bigger and heavier, so my arm would get a little bit tired from it. With this, it's perfect. The sizing is great. It's really simple to just bring it along and start shooting. It's not intimidating for people to see you with a camera and with this type of lens because it doesn't look like the typical kind of very big lenses. So that's one big plus. Here are some examples that I'm going to show you of this lens that I've used it for video and also for photography. So as you see, this lens is very versatile. The cool thing about it is in the footage that you saw, you're able to get very close because it's also like a macro lens. So you can get very close to your object or subject or anything like that to get nice little details from it. I've used it a lot for the shoe kind of video that I've done before with product photography, that I've done a video before in my YouTube channel, and also for very good with like architecture and wide shots. So very good lens for the price point. Alright, next up is the 35mm Sigma 1.4 that I own. I got this lens for about $650, I believe it was, or maybe $600. It's been a while since I got it. This was my actual first lens that I got for full frame once I upgraded from my A6000 to my A7 III. This lens has been super amazing. If any first lens that I would recommend to get, if you're just going to be shooting basically photos or even videos, this is the lens to use. Now that I've put my 20mm lens onto my camera to use for the video part, obviously now I had to move in my camera because it's a wider lens, so that's obviously given, but this is such a great focal length in my opinion for video and photo, like if you just want to have one lens for a while. The 35 has become my most favorite lens to use when it comes down to just wanting to use one lens only when I go out and shoot photos. So honestly, for the most part, when I do my vlogs and kind of behind the scenes of photos that I use my 20mm on my A7 III, and I use my 35mm on my A7R III and my R2. Reasoning why is just because the extra bit of focal length, outside, kind of like from an 85 where it's not so up close, it's fine to crop in because you're gonna have to crop for social media anyway. And with the R3 and the R2, it has more megapixels, so I can crop in and not lose as much quality. But the best thing about this lens is that it's very fast and very quiet with the autofocus. in reality. And I just love how smooth really this is. I mean, right now it's turned off, so it's not going to be as smooth, if you will, because like, but it is very great. It has a little autofocus and manual focus little button there. Gives you nice, good information right there. So here we go. And you know, so for me, this lens has been phenomenal. I'm going to show you a couple of examples that I've done with the video and the photography for it. So here you go. Check it out. So as you see, the photos and the videos are very smooth. I really love this lens. It's become literally my go-to lens almost every time that I'm just going out and shooting that I don't want to bring an extra lens with me. My 85 is great. I love it for portraits, but if I know I'm going to be taking some portraits and other stuff, I'll just bring this lens only, because it can do great. Like, I can just move up a little bit closer if I want to do portraits. It does very good with a 1.4, and just, it's an amazing lens for the price point. Literally, this lens has been such a great tool for me when it came down to learning even more, and for the full frame upgrade that I did. So highly recommend this lens. All right, and we're gonna do the last lens that I recommend is the 85mm focal length. So I have a Sony 85 1.8 basically that I've been using for a while now. The good thing about it is that I got it used for $350. I think new is like $500, $550, give or take, depending where you get it in US dollars. But the cool thing about this lens is just the way the compression works with it. I've loved using it for portrait photography. It's just, it makes it so much smoother when it comes onto portraits. It's just very, for me, it's very like eye-catching how the photos turn out. So I think that's a very good lens to have for when it comes to, if you know you're going to be doing a lot of portraits. But if you want to have, obviously, like I said, like a little bit more of a middle ground, the 35 is great. But this is a beast of a portrait lens. For me, I've used it plenty of times for portrait photography. Almost always I use it if I know I'm only going to be taking portraits. So this lens has been great. I love that it has the autofocus, manual focus button. It has an extra button right there for configuration, so you can kind of set it up however you want to. Very, very big lens, kind of like what's it called, glass area. And for the price point, it's a phenomenal lens in reality. You can get obviously more expensive lenses. They're in like $1,000 plus, which I'm sure they're phenomenal. Obviously, sometimes investing a little bit more money in that type of lenses is great. But the cool thing about it is a very budget friendly and very good photo and video, to be honest, that I've used it. So check out these examples, and that way you can kind of see it for yourself. So as you see, it gets you like that nice creamy like bokeh background, and then also for video, it's just phenomenal just how close and kind of cinematic it can make it. I've been using this a lot actually for video at my tennis academy. So that's the footage that you just saw is my tennis academy there, which for me, it just makes it more like faster pace as well, because it's so up close and you're having to follow your subject, and just like the up close and personal kind of feel of it to kind of bring some humanity to the subject, because it's like what you would see if you're close to somebody, and just more in a little bit more of their personal space, to just know that, oh, you know what, they are a normal human being just like myself. So it kind of like gives you that sense of neutrality and cinematic feel to me, that it's just like, it makes it seem like, oh, that's something that I could be right there for and experience, if you will. But this lens has been great. Price point, phenomenal. That's basically the lens to go with for portraits if you're on a budget and you're starting to get more into the full frame. And even if you're using the APS-C sensor, like all these lenses are great because they'll just go a little bit obviously more magnified, and that's fine. Like the 20mm become like 30, the 35 will become 50, 85 will be I think like 10 something. So obviously not a bad thing to come with if you have an APS-C sensor as well. But yeah, those are the three lenses that I think that you really need at this point in time if you're really getting into more of the full frame or just getting into lenses. They're budget friendly and they're very good quality, so I think they'll help you out because they've helped me out immensely. I've been using these lenses like literally since I upgraded to my A7 III. I got my 35 first, then I got the 85, and then I recently got this 20mm lens to use more for videoing. It's a very good kind of focal range to have for very wide to middle to very up close without breaking the budget. I mean, you can get all these lenses for the price point of less than the G Master of one lens, because the G Master lenses on average are like 2,000 and 2,500, give or take. So all this is less than like what, too much math right now, but it's like 300 plus the 600 that it was, so that's 900 already. So you're still under 1,000 with just two lenses, getting the 20 and the 35. And then if you get the 85 new, yeah, let's say if it's $500, right? So that's still $1,400 plus tax. Let's say $1,600, give or take. Still under the $2,000 mark. And if you get an A7 III right now, it's $1,800. You can get all of that for the price of the A7R IV, just the body, by the way. So very good way to get yourself into the full frame lens world and the full frame camera world. So hopefully that will help you out in your decisions, and hopefully it'll make you, you know, upgrade to full frame if that's what you're looking for, because sometimes it takes a while. That's what happened to me. So with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, share this video with a friend, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.